Welcome back to Midwest Access, and I have the lovely Krista Ryan here back with us today. And we are doing a segment called Courageous Conversations, and our first guest today is Jason. So Jason Lennox, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, Krista brings, I get to meet all these cool people.
Yeah.
And you guys met through public speaking, right? Do motivational speaking?
We did. We're involved in the same group, NSA of Minnesota, so National Speaker Association of Minnesota, and that's where we first got connected.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here today. We're going to share, you get to share a little bit of your story, we get to hear a little bit of your story, and we just talk about how these courageous conversations happen, and it really helps us connect. It helps us stay inspired when those times of crisis come and you don't know what to do. We hope that you can think of some of these stories that you've heard and how people made it through. So first I want to start out with an event that you have coming up.
Thank you. The Recovery Road is the walk, and the Recovery Road is an idea. It started, I'll say 2.5 months ago, up in this little brain that doesn't stop some nights. It was a summer June night, and I just remember thinking about all the people that we've lost. I work in the behavioral health space, and so regularly working with people who struggle with substances, with mental health, and it's just so prevalent. And so I did a little research. 307,000 people, that's how many we lost in 2024 in the U.S. to drugs, to alcohol, and suicide, the combination of those three. And I just couldn't get that number out of my brain, and I thought, what are we going to do? What can I do this year? I like to do something. This is National Recovery Month, September. And it really trickles. It's also Suicide Prevention Month, trickles into World Mental Health Day in October. So I knew I wanted to do something. I like to do these kinds of things, but this one was a little bit bigger, and the number 307,000 stuck. What can I do 307,000 of? Not many things, at least not in a short amount of time. I knew I was going to need some help, so I thought, what if we walked 307,000 miles collectively as a country to represent each of the people we lost, and then if we raised $1 for each of those miles to contribute to building new and innovative behavioral health programs that serve people.
Wow, incredible idea.
Who would have needed it. So that, it was, and I ran it by a few close people in my life. They didn't shut me down. I thought maybe they would, because a few people asked, is it a little too short of a runway? Should we think about it next year? And I said, 307,000 people don't have next year, so we're going to go with it. I'm going to push forward. And so the idea is, I'd like to look at it as a collective walk across the country. You can do it from anywhere, 307,000 miles. There will be a window of time from September 29th to October 31st where anyone anywhere can participate via walking, via running, wheelchair, anything that logs those miles.
Okay.
And during that time, most of that time, I'll be doing what I'm calling the flagship walk, which is a 307-mile walk from West Virginia through Kentucky, Virginia, and then across Tennessee to Nashville, where there's a conference that focuses on this industry, investors, leaders, treatment programs. So I knew I was going to end there at the end of October, and I just kind of backed my way out of, there and walking through West Virginia's, the Kentuckys. These are the most decimated states in our country when it comes to drug overdose.
Really?
The opioid epidemic started in the West Virginia area because coal mines were very popular there, and so you had a lot of people who dealt with chronic pain issues, easy to prescribe to, and so that's where it started. And I knew, even though I'd be walking through a whole lot of nothing a lot of the way, that I wanted to place some meaning behind that. So I'm going to do that over 3.5 weeks, and we're going to try to just ripple that out and see how many people across the country and maybe even outside of the United States can participate.
It is. It's wonderful. Doing something physical, I think, something that you can, I did a thing, really helps us all feel like we can come together too, and like we can kind of contribute. I really like that.
And it I think just raises the conversation that in so much of my work that I try to do is bring this conversation to as many people as possible, because it's just a topic that we don't always like talking about. There's some taboo, there's some stigma.
Yeah, there sure is.
And as a person, who was on the receiving end of that for many, many years, my own struggle with drugs, alcohol, mental health. I lost my father at a young age. He was 39 when cirrhosis ended his life, and so it's very near and dear to me. And I sat on the side of society going, here are all your problems. If you just didn't do the things that cause problems, you wouldn't have the problems. And that made sense to me.
Right.
But I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
because it was a disease, and everybody else told me it was just a matter of choice and logic. So I began to believe that, and I did think there was, something wrong with me, and so I wasn't going to ask for help. I wasn't going to talk to anybody about it, and that's what happened. So this kind of thing, really gets people out walking, talking, and thinking about this, and being a little more open and compassionate and supportive.
Does. Yeah, the compassionate piece, especially when we can have that empathy for each other. So this is all that we have time for on air. We are going to do the rest of this conversation, though, to get into your why, some of your story online. And so kttc.com, you can check it out under Midwest Access Courageous Conversations with Krista Ryan. And we'll have more Midwest Access for you in just a few minutes.